Hey everybody, how you doing today? Listen, are you ready for marriage success this year? This is the year where I want you to embrace I can succeed. We can succeed. You got to get your mind right. You got to have a mind for success. You cannot keep walking around talking about, I don't think this is going to work. We're not going to make it. I don't know what to do. There's no solution. My spouse is just a mess and I don't like my spouse. What if you begin to tell yourself, this is too valuable to not succeed? It's a whole mindset shift. And if you want to enjoy success, you have to become the person on your way to your dream before you can have the result of the dream. You got to become the person. Whenever God gives you a dream and you got married with a dream, I'm certain. That's why in the first part of this series, we talked about getting clear about your why. When you get married, you come with dreams, desires, with needs. And sometimes things get in the way. Sometimes things happen. Sometimes we get in the way. Sometimes life happens, the stress, the pressure, all of those things. But I want you to embrace that you can succeed in marriage. Don't give up on the marriage. Hey, I'm Rod Hairston. If we have not met, I want to welcome you to my channel. Hey, make sure you do me a favor. We are this close to reaching 1,000 subscribers. I would appreciate if you would subscribe, if you would share this video, and if you would comment. Yeah, let us know that these videos are helpful to you. Let's get into today's topic, today's theme. We've been talking about marriage success in 2025. We've been talking about blind spots, and you got blind spots. I got blind spots. All God's children have blind spots. Put your hand on your heart and just say, "Yep, I got blind spots. I got blind spots." And that's why we've been we've been talking about these blind spots because we want you to become more aware of the blind spots on your way to marriage success. If you get clear about these blind spots and what to do about them, you can actually, yes, you can succeed in marriage. I know it's hard. I know it's two people with different mindsets, with different approaches to life, with all sorts of coping strategies that get in the way. We grow up with these things and we start wreaking havoc on other people with our issues. Yeah, that's what we do. So in this video, I want to teach you about this number 4 blind spot that will really revolutionize how you approach your marriage. And it is the blind spot related to communication. This is the biggest blind spot related to communication because so often we talk about communication being say the right things, pause, count to 7, all of these important practical skills. But before you can communicate, you must choose to be a communicator. Did I say that too fast? If you want to do the thing, you must first be the thing because what you do flows from who you are. And so many people take communication as sort of a take it or leave it. If you want a great marriage, I'm talking about one that sends your rocket to the moon, like Luther said, right? One that makes you high, like John Legend said. If you want that kind of marriage, that kind of relationship, you have to become a dedicated communicator. You have to be committed to communication. You have to become a communicator so that you can communicate. Now, the core to communication is that you have to become a very good listener. And this is important because listening is not merely physical. It's not just what I do with my ears, though I need to listen with my ears. It is so often nonverbal cues that we have to learn how to listen to. Yeah, it's not because 80% of communication is nonverbal. If I say yes with my lips and I say no with my head, you're going to believe my head. Watch this. Watch this. Yes. 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 Absolutely yes. Yes. Of course, yes. Yes. You checking? You tracking? Yeah. you're going to go with the nonverbal. And so often we are having conversations with nonverbal clues and cues, and we don't recognize what they are. Somebody shout back in the comments, I got to become a better listener. As your blind spot might be likely is that you're not a great listener, or your spouse is not a great listener, or both of you are not great listeners. When I teach this in my Dream Marriage Masterminds, almost every person in the mastermind raises their hand when I ask the question, are you a good listener or a poor listener? Almost every person says, I'm not a very good listener. My spouse says I'm not a very good listener. I know I'm not a very good listener. Listen, I'm not a great listener, but I work hard at being a great listener. I couldn't be a I couldn't be a good coach if I hadn't focused on listening and communication. And so today I want to teach you 4 keys to becoming an effective communicator through listening. An effective communicator through listening. Are y'all ready to get into this? Um, I hope so. So make sure you just grab something to write with, take notes. Make sure you watch the video again. Go over this. Don't let it be a one-time deal for you. All right. Here's the first key to becoming a great listener. This is so important. You're going to have to calm down. Yeah, you're going to have to calm down. You're going to have to calm down. Whether it's in the context of a conflict, an argument, you and your spouse are like added, just you might even be in a good space. You might just be busy, but you're juggling 12 things, and you got to pause and calm down. One of the most effective ways I know to calm down is by the practice of breathing. Breathing brings calm to your brain. Yes, it does. And if you do this 3, 4, 5, 6 times, take a deep breath. Deep breath. You know, the Bible uses the idea, the phrase, don't be anxious. That's what breathing does. Deep breathing takes away anxiety. Don't be anxious about anything. You're about to get into a conversation, or you're already into some other things, and the conversation needs to be had, and you need to listen. Put that scripture into practice. Do not be anxious. Calm down. Take the deep breaths. When you calm down, God is so amazing. It literally puts your brain back online so that you can process what's being conveyed between the two of you in the dialogue. This, by the way, works at work. It works with your children. It works with your friends. If you just hold on, let me breathe for a moment. I got to take this in. I got to hear what you're saying. I want to make sure I'm tracking. Somebody shout, I got to calm down. I got to calm down. You want to be cool as a cucumber. You want to put all anxiety to rest so that you can fully hear. Set your phone down, by the way, so you can fully hear. It'll help you calm down. All right, that's the first thing. That's one of the first big keys to becoming a good listener. You got to get your brain back online by calming down. You're going to have to learn how to listen on levels. You have to learn how to listen on levels. You're going to have to learn how to listen on a deeper level. Oftentimes I use the phrase, you got to learn how to listen longer, or you got to learn how to listen deeper. What do you mean by that, Rod? What are you talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about. Listen on levels. What do you mean? So to listen on levels mean that you're not merely listening with your ears, as I mentioned earlier. Yeah, you got to listen with your ears. That's very important. You want to hear what the other person is saying. Make sure you're tracking with them. And you can just say that, okay, I'm tracking. I'm getting you. I hear you. Sometimes you can say, I'm tracking. I hear you. I get you. And you don't really hear. So sometimes you got to be real and say, you know what? I'm looking you right in your face. I'm looking right at you. and I don't hear words you're saying. My mind is all over the place. I'm just not. I'm having a hard time following you right now. Just admit that. But if you want to listen on a deeper level, if you want to listen on levels, one of the ways is to learn how to listen emotionally. Do you know how to look for emotional cues? We talked about blind spot number two, about how important it is that we learn how to track with the other person and their single greatest emotional need. If you want to take your relationship to a new level, you got to learn how to listen emotionally. I'm not saying listen with you being emotional and unregulated and all over the place. Like you can't be all over the place emotionally listening, but you can listen to the other person's emotional cues. You got to watch them, watch the shoulders. Watch if they're slumping. Watch if their eyes are like this. That's a sign of fear, right? That's a sign that they're overwhelmed. You got to learn how to listen. If a person is like this, they're afraid. If a person, their body language will tell you so much. It's so powerful. But you got to learn how to listen emotionally. You want to learn how to listen visually. Watch what's going on. Watch what's happening. Similar to emotionally, right? Watch. Look with your eyes. How's the body language? How's the posture? Because that's going to tell you a whole lot. And you don't have to make assumptions. You don't have to play therapist when you're listening to your spouse. Help me talk right now. Don't be like I'm watching your body and you're giving me all of this and all this sass. No, 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 no. Chill out. Chill out. Stay calm. But watch somebody like, hey, I'm watching your eyes and I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're conveying to me. I'm not sure how to take that. I don't know what's up. I really don't know what's up. I'm watching you and you seem like you're about to launch at me. Like, what's up? What's up with that? Watch body language. You look like you're angry. I see your shoulders are all tense. Your face is scrunched up. Watch visually. Watch emotionally. Here's another way you can watch. Watch empathically. That is emotional, but it's also a level where you engage with the other person by stepping into the situation with them. I'm listening to you. Hey, that must have felt bad. That must have been horrible. Man, that breaks my heart for you, right? I'm stepping into where they are. If I were in that situation, I'd be sad too. You'd be amazed what your children, by the way, are looking for, and your spouse. I was talking to one of my clients recently, and they had a rough football season. A lot of teams had a rough football season. He said, I came home after a bad day and um, got home, and I just wanted to just let my spouse know where I was and what I went through and how tough it was. And my spouse replied, "All right, well, we got these kids. We still got stuff to do. We got to keep going. We just got to keep it going. We got to keep it moving." And what I shared with his spouse was, I said, "You have a hard time being in the negative emotional space, don't you? Like you don't like feeling that pain. You don't like feeling the sadness." And she was like, "You're so right. I don't know how to deal with that." You know what he felt like? He was like, you don't even care. You don't care where I am. You're not worried about where I am. You can't just get in here with me for a moment and be here with me for a moment. And he was developing resentment. And once I helped them to see the importance of learning how to listen empathically and help them to begin to apply that and work on that and put it into how they have difficult conversations and not even so difficult conversations. I'm sorry, if you do that with your children, like when you pick your kids up from school, don't say, "Hey, how was your day?" and wait for good. No, don't do that. Like, "Hey, tell me about your day." "Oh, was that how well Robbie hit me?" "Oh, that must not have been good. How did that make you feel? How did that go? Did that make you sad? Did it make you angry?" Like, just ask your kids, right? The next level of listening is on that empathic level where you put yourself where they are instead of staying distant from them. You're like, "Oh, that's too bad. Okay, so I'm glad. Well, I'm sorry it was a rough day. What y'all want for lunch? What would you like for snack?" Right? And then what we teach the kids, by the way, and many of us learn this, is that when you're feeling badly because you can't express yourself emotionally and have somebody empathize with you, you learn to anesthetize that pain or feel that frustration with the snack or whatever is next. Or some people learn how to just, well, we don't feel, we just keep going. I'm telling you, it's major. If you're going to succeed this year in your marriage, you're going to have to learn how to really listen on levels, because it does a number of things. One, it lowers defenses. Yep. If you want to see your spouse not be defensive, listen on these levels that I'm describing to you. If you want to create a sense of safety, emotional safety is what I'm talking about, where your spouse can trust you more and more and more and more. Learn how to listen, stay calm, listen on levels. Here's another huge advantage, um, is that they know that you are not going to be a lecturer because you're a good listener. Nobody, absolutely nobody wants to be lectured. Nobody wants to be lectured, right? So when you listen well, they're like, my spouse is a great listener. Wouldn't it be amazing? Wouldn't that be so dope? So good if your spouse could say, "Oh my gosh, my spouse is the best listener anywhere ever." So you got to stay calm. You want to listen on levels. Let me give you the third point. One is you want to acknowledge and affirm. Acknowledge them when they're talking to you, because you want to be acknowledged. You want to be affirmed. Oh, stop tripping. Do not even look like that. Don't look at me like that. You know exactly what I'm saying. You want to be acknowledged. You want to be affirmed when you're in conversation with one another. No matter what you're talking about, just acknowledge, like, hey, I hear what you're saying about that situation at work. I want you to know I'm tracking with you. Right? I acknowledge how you must feel, and I affirm you're not crazy or you're not wrong. I want you to know I affirm what you're saying. I respect what you're saying. I think you have a point with what you're saying. You may not even agree. You don't have to agree. Like, I don't fully agree with you, but I want you to know I respect what you're saying. I respect where you are on this, right? That's acknowledgement and affirmation. Acknowledgement goes a long way. Listen, sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. And one of the reasons why some of you don't like to go home is because you get no acknowledgement. Like, one of the best things my wife ever did for me, and she still does this to this day, whenever I'm traveling and I'm coming back home, matter of fact, I don't have to be traveling. I can be on my way home. I can be coming home from work. When I come through the doors, she acknowledges me. Hey, honey, I'm glad you're home. She'll come and give me a hug. She'll come and say, how was your day? She'll pause whatever she's doing. She might be watching TV or making dinner or on a call, but she will acknowledge me. In our communication, we have to learn how to acknowledge one another. Oh, this is so good. I ought to buy this video myself. Are y'all getting anything out of this? Hit me up in the comments if you are. And then you want to make sure that y'all want this last point. Y'all don't want the last point. You don't want okay, well, let me tell you about something good first, and I'm gonna come back to the last point. All right, I want to talk to you about a free resource that is available for you. It's our Happy Marriage Masterclass. You can see the link down in the description, and I want you to go and grab that, because it's going to really give you this framework in more depth. That's what you get with the Happy Marriage Masterclass. Is my gift to you. It's just something I can give you that will help you. It is a video-based short course that will take you through these principles that I'm sharing with you. This is the framework that I use for coaching people who are high profile, high impact people, and it is making a huge difference. And so the Happy Marriage Masterclass is that framework for you so that you can get your mind around it, begin to put it into practice, and begin to learn it. All right, let's get to our last point here. So we talked about keeping calm. We talked about listening on levels. We talked about acknowledging and affirming. And lastly, let me tell you how important it is that you learn how to reach for one another. This is key. It's a game changer. So often I have to teach my clients when I'm working with them, and oftentimes it's online. They'll come into the room and one will be sitting on one sofa and one will be sitting on another sofa or chair somewhere. And I'm like, how am I supposed to coach you when you're struggling and you're so far from each other? Like, you have to come closer and listen when you are communicating with one another, and when you're listening. one of the most important things you can do is reach for the other person. My wife and I we were talking this morning. This morning, and we're talking. She was just sharing some things that were hard for her, some things that were weighing on her. And I had all sorts of plans. I got to travel. I'm packing. I'm doing all that stuff. And I remembered this very important principle: reach for each other. And so as she's telling me what she's saying, I just walked across the room and put my arms around her and just said, I'm listening to you. I hear you. Tell me more. I'm really sorry that happened. You would be amazed what touch does. Like if you reach for the other person, especially if you are going through it and you're arguing, you're mad at each other and you're trying to get your point across. If you just calm down, listen on levels, all of that, and reach for the other person. I got reach. I want to put that reach. Somebody say reach for the other person. If you reach for the other person, you would be amazed at what will happen. Their body begins to calm down. All of that cortisol begins to settle and lowers, right? It's so calming. You ever had somebody that you love, that you want to touch you, like rub you on your back? Oh, don't that feel good? You remember, like I love when Sherry rubs me on my back. She loves when I rub her on her back. It ain't always sexual, y'all, because I know y'all always thinking something is sexual. It's not. I love when it is. That's cool too. But I'm just saying, when you reach for one another, touch the hand, give an embrace, put your hand on the shoulder. I teach my clients this all the time. I'm telling you, it's bringing them closer to one another. They're learning how to really listen to one another, how to really communicate. Hey, I hope that this content has been helpful to you. I want you to work on that blind spot. Number 4 blind spot is our communication, and specifically not being great listeners. You can become a great leader. You can have an amazing marriage. I speak it over your life. I believe in you. Don't you believe in you? Hey, and if you're going to become a great listener, you got to become a listener. Choose to be a listener. Choose to calm down. Choose to listen on levels. Choose to reach for one, and choose to acknowledge and to affirm the other person. Hey, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Make sure you get this entire series, all of the blind spots, and I'll see you for blind spot number 5 in the next video. Peace.